Hey, if you're joining us, this is the pre show. I don't know. If you watch YouTube, anybody who watches YouTube, they get the extra Geeksters bonus. And that's it. Tim hates us. He's gone.
Talk a little bit, Martin.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Hey, Tim's back. I thought he had left. Tim's back. You were like, I was talking, and then you up and left. And I was like, wow, I haven't even started. The show hasn't even started yet, and he's already done.
I have had enough.
That's it.
I'm out of here.
This pre-show is for the dogs. I'm out of here. Hey, we have somebody in the chat room, SCJ643. He or she is listening.
Yay.
You can't see me, but I'm waving. No, I'm not. I'm waving now.
All right, the recording is going. When you would like to start, go ahead.
All right. So we need our moment. We need our moment. Oh, he's a guy in the chat room. Okay. Hey, guy. Okay, now here's my question. I wonder if that's his initials. So is it like Sam Charles Jones?
And he's 643 years old.
Well, maybe that's his height. Maybe he's 6 feet 43 inches.
That's going to be my weight soon if I don't watch it.
All right. Here we go. Moment of silence. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Geeksters episode 174. This is a show where we just guys get together, and gals if they come on the show, and we just get together and talk about life as a tech, what we do, how do we do it, how do we solve problems, how do we just get tired of computers and throw them out the window sometimes, and every now and then we throw in a copycat. My name is Martin Albano. I'm one of the hosts here, and I'm going to just get right to it, guys. I have had an awesome week, awesome couple weeks. It's been busy, but not like redlining it. I've gotten good sleep. I'm just excited to be back here talking to Geeksters. I bring a lot of stuff today. I've got just great stuff to talk about, and I'm excited to share with you guys for that. So, hey, Tim, since he's right there at the microphone, how's it going?
Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Welcome to Geeksters Love Talk.
Yeah, I've had an adequate amount of sleep. Things are going adequately well, and I'm bringing myself. So that's where I'm at.
All right.
Yeah, man.
All right. Mitch, bring it on home.
Okay, well, just the opposite of you guys. I didn't get enough sleep, as usual, and I don't have no tech to talk about other than upgrading the speaker. I bought a soundbar for my TV, and my chronic fatigue is still there. Other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geeksters, the most well-rounded show you will ever hear on the Podnuts Network.
And if I stand up, you would definitely agree with that, but I'm not going to stand up.
I can stand up. Well, let's all stand up together.
I'm a lot more rounded than you are.
Is that TV still behind you?
It's just the box.
But is it still there?
Yeah, the box. Yeah, keep it for a while, just in case I have to take it back.
You know, people will always ask me, can I throw away this box? And I'm like, well, just hold on to it for a little bit. That's what I was going to talk about. I remembered now.
Returns.
So most of the people just want to toss their new computer boxes away, and I say, please hold on to it. Well, what am I going to use it for? I said, if for some reason at some time you need to return a product, we have the box. And today I am returning a product. This is a Dell laptop, and there's a Dell behind me. I've got, I think, 7 Dells, and there's actually a pile of Dells over there that are just being phased out. I have never, in the 4 years I've worked as Urbana Computing, and the 7 years I worked in education where we bought 600 computers at a time, I have never returned a Dell computer except for today. I'm returning one. And it was the weirdest thing. This computer, just a laptop for a client, it just doesn't work well. It's really slow. It's kind of bulky. It just feels like I'm dragging a bag of sand behind it. So I submitted a ticket because it had 30 days. So I submitted an online ticket, and it was accepted and was in the queue for review. It was just in the process of reviewing. So I waited and waited and waited. Did this on the 8th. It's now the 15th, and I called them today to check on that. And they said, "Oh yeah, no problem. We'll get a ticket." And I actually have, so I have now a UPS label. I'm holding up a UPS label to return that box. I'll go pick it up tomorrow. And I asked, "Do you have the original packaging?" And the lady said, "Yes." Excellent. We'll put it back in the box. We'll send it back. So I asked the lady online at Dell. I said, "How come you're giving me I mean, that's great that you're giving me a return right now, but that one's still in the queue being on hold." And she says, "Yeah, if you submit a ticket that way for a return on hold or a return through our website, it could take up to 2 months before somebody looks at it. So if you ever have to return a Dell computer, call them. Do not submit a ticket online because you will be waiting and for at least 2 months." And I'm glad they took the return back because I had, like I said, we bought the computer on the 9th, on November 9th. On the 8th is when I submitted a return request because you have a 30-day return. They have a 30-day return policy, and I was kind of wanting to make sure I get under that. And now being the 15th, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I was gonna have to fight them on that, but they went ahead and they took my request. So I'll be sending back a Dell computer.
So it didn't run good from the scratch at all.
Well, when I took it out of the box, it worked okay here when I was with it, but then I installed Office on it, 2016. I mean, this is a Core i5, came with 4 gigs of RAM. I put another 4 in, and it felt like it was running better. But I just thought, well, maybe it's just me, and I gave it to the lady, and the first day she's like, "Yeah, it's okay." Now, she was going from an i3 HP with 4 gigs of RAM, and I noticed a difference, and it just felt, you know what I mean? You just get that feeling of this computer just is running a little slower than it should be. Like, it's just not right. And I thought, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's going to get better. And it never got better. And I got emails from her saying, "I've had it with this computer. I don't know what it is, but it's a pile of junk. I want to return it." So what she ended up doing today was going down, and I told her, "These are the specs you can get." I said, "If you want to get Windows 10, you can. They're on a work group, so they're not on a domain, and everything should work fine on Windows 10 because the applications that they use work fine on Windows 8 and 8.1." And I said, "Please don't get an AMD processor. That's my opinion." And I will hopefully take out the 4 gigs of RAM out of the one and put it in another. More than likely, she'll go pick up another HP. She really liked the HPs. And she uses the laptop and then an external monitor, so she uses two monitors at her desktop with a wireless keyboard and mouse. And so, that's really what was one of the things I wanted to say was hold on to the boxes at least for a little bit, just because you have to return it, because that's going to save me, and her money from having to go buy a shipping box when we have all the padding, all the, the molded foam for sending back to Dell.
See, I have 2 Dell's desktops here and i5s, and I just bought the one in May, and this thing flies. I mean, it came with 8 gigs of RAM. I mean, it really, like I see them on sale sometimes at Staples for $400. I don't really need it, but I think it's a great deal for $400. I don't think I could build one for that cheap. And I have 2 of them actually. Well, one was a little bit more than that. And the one it's in a RAID, but the recent one, which is not in a RAID, it's faster. So I'm surprised you're having that problem on the Dell. I would have tried like a Linux boot CD, see how it ran in that. I don't know if I would have done a reinstall, see if it would have improved anything.
Well, it's fresh, brand new, right out of the box.
Yeah, I know.
The client was unhappy with it.
Yeah.
And even if you actually did work it out and you said, "Aha, this is it," you gave it back to them. If they decided they hate the machine, they hate the machine.
Yeah.
And you know what? Did she just get a Nerd Dell, the same model that, because this was just a dud? No. She went back and got the HP, which is probably what she wanted in the first place. It's what she had before. She liked it. The HP could be complete garbage, but if that's what I'm not putting her down. The client, if they get an idea in their head, you always have to let them run with it until they talk themselves out of the idea, if it's a bad idea.
Right. No, that's a great point. Yeah, and I feel, part of me feels really bad because I'm the one who researched this laptop, and I said, this is going to be a great laptop. It's going to do everything you need to do. and then now it's kind of a lemon, and I was talking to my wife about that, and she says, well, that's not your fault. Look at all the other Dells that you've deployed. And I'll stick with. And I like Dells, and I realize that Dells had some security certificate issues, come up, and I get that, but I've been a big Dell fan for a long time.
Um,
But it doesn't. But like you said, it doesn't matter what I think. Ultimately, if the client wants a drive a pink Cadillac, then the client drives a pink Cadillac, and then my job is to make sure they get a pink Cadillac.
I've seen some absolutely ridiculous machines deployed, in small business, and it's a situation where it's almost always the owner. Like everybody in the organization, is on board and using what would it be like you would recommend, what would it be used, and the owner of the small, he's always sitting, with this ridiculous thing. It's like, why do you have? Well, it was his idea, and I tried to mention this and that, and he was like, the guy's paying the bills, and he's dead set on this thing. You almost just have to let him have it until either he agrees with you, and goes away from this, or he just, I don't know. This is how I feel about antivirus software. I've seen people, they have products that maybe necessarily I wouldn't recommend, and I ask them, is that working okay for you? Do you like it? If they do, fine. I said, all right. Well, that isn't what I ordinarily recommend. If you ever become dissatisfied with it, let me know. We'll talk about it. If they aren't satisfied, well, that's my opening. Now I can say, well, I wouldn't. That's not a product I would recommend. But I don't talk people out of things they're happy with, because whatever you give them, they're gonna hate it, and they're gonna hate you for it.
Right.
I mean,
if there's a security concern, like I've been trying for years to talk this one guy out of Windows XP. I can't. You know what I mean? I can't. And this guy hosed his machine, and I was able to bring it back from the dead because he didn't want to buy another machine. This is the guy that we've talked about this one actually on the show. The same guy who goes to these sites, and he actually fully admits it. I go to these sites, I get my computer infected. Can you please clean it up? It's running Windows XP, But he loves his 12-year-old Windows XP laptop that you could prop up a small car on. But he loves it, and I can't talk him out of getting a new machine because he just wants it. So I get paid to fix his Windows XP machine. I have antivirus on it. I have malware bytes on it. I have crypto blocker protect on it. But he loves his Windows XP machine.
Well, that's his deal then.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So.
It's not illegal.
No, I just.
I mean, it's not bright, but there's people are allowed to be stupid. It's perfectly legal to be stupid.
XP will be that abandonware pretty soon.
Say abandonware.
Yeah, abandonware. They give up the whatever the legal
not abandonware.
Huh?
Abandonware?
No, not Obando. No, not.
Abandonware.
Like buy this 12 box of Cracker Jacks and get free Windows XP.
Gosh.
So one thing
But it's like, hey, you can run an emulated XP in a web browser.
We use it at work still, so you hear me say that all the time.
Well, SCJ643 in the chat says XP runs great on new machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the XP 64-bit wasn't very good.
Yeah,
so.
There were driver issues, and if 32-bit, you're limited this game because driver support and limited RAM issues. That's the only reason we're still not using XP.
That's right. Only if.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things that came in just before the show started, and I wanted to be this our opening breaking news story. So in the Geeksters Journal of North American Food, scientists have now done studies that greenhouse gas emissions from lettuce production are 3 times higher per calorie than from bacon. So with because to get the same amount of calories from bacon as you do from lettuce, you have to eat 2 heads of lettuce, 2 heads of iceberg lettuce, and then you take in transportation, the how fast lettuce spoils and stuff like that, and therefore you end up with pork and or bacon being more beneficial to greenhouse gas emissions and the environment than lettuce. So there you have it. You heard it here first. Eat more bacon, salad. Well, eat if you can get it.
More fiber in the lettuce.
Well,
But more flavor in the bacon.
that's right.
For sure.
You know what? Eat bacon with a side of Geritol.
Tums in my case.
Or Tums, whatever liquid you pour in, you use the spoon. What is that? Flex? Go colon blow? I don't know what it's called, but there you have it, folks.
Yeah, Metamucil.
Metamucil, there it is. That's the one.
That's,
All right.
No, that's
actually
for
very interesting.
that's for regular air. Oh, never mind. I know all these things because I'm in that age group.
Who figured this? I guess there's like a whole bacon cult that exists, but that seems like a strange study trying to determine what foods are. It's like we're so far beyond the point of whether it's any good for you or not. Is it good for the environment?
Right. Nobody cares about you.
No.
Nobody cares about you. What?
It's about the environment. Because the one thing about the environment, nature won't take care of itself eventually. Nature just rolls over and does what it's told. That's actually very, very interesting study. Huh. Yeah, people love their bacon.
I love my bacon, but I'm on a low carb diet, so I have to eat lettuce too. But I do enjoy my bacon.
Very good.
Do you guys have stuff to talk about? I don't want to bogart the whole show.
Just that, well, I bought this 55-inch Samsung TV a few weeks ago, and in these newer TVs, you're not going to get real good sound because you got something that's like a half-inch thick. You're not going to get real good speakers in there. So and I didn't want to spend a lot. I wanted to get a sound bar. So I'm just reading different reviews, and they have this Vizio 3821. It's 38 inches, and it comes with a wireless subwoofer, and the thing sounds really good. I'm really satisfied with it. And my wife, she's not complaining about it. Now my dogs, with the subwoofer going off,
Well, if the wife's not complaining about it, hey, you got something, pal.
Hey,
Right.
the wife will take care of herself. She's not going to roll over and.
That's right.
She loves the TV. I mean, she actually loves the TV. They had those Christmas special or shows on last night where they're judging the best decorations in the neighborhood. They like 3 different neighborhoods around the country. Then they have it was on ABC. It's really, really good. Looked great on that TV. And the soundbar for $138 at Walmart. It sounds really good. Better than those.
Do you have a
speakers.
model, a brand?
Yeah, it's a Vizio for the soundbar or the TV.
Yeah, soundbar.
It's a Vizio SB3821.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear it. If you said it before, I didn't hear you. Okay.
Vizio SB3821.
How much did you pay at Walmart?
It was $138. It was a special buy at Walmart. They had one left in there. I mean, on the website it said $178, but I'm in the store looking, and
Are you using the digital audio?
Optical cable. It comes with all the cables. It comes with optical, the digital coaxial, and the 1.8. Yeah.
Podnuts.com/Amazon, 140, so $139.99.
Right. And they got good reviews. If you'll read the reviews on it.
Yeah, it has 5 stars, 1 customer review.
But I'm talking one customer. But I mean, I'm talking like where they did some reviews on it. I mean, I didn't see a whole lot. But I mean, I was thinking about getting a Poco audio. That was like almost $300. The one I was looking at, and then some of the reviews. I'm talking about the actual where you had like CNET or somebody doing a review on it. It wasn't too good. Not user reviews, but and then I was looking at I was looking at some of the Bose, but you're not going to, you're not going to get anything under $400 with them, and there's no way I'm going to. Although I was thinking about it, but it's too much money.
Well, one of the things my wife wanted to do for my birthday or Christmas last year, 2 years ago, was put in a better sound system in our house, because when we had our old house, we had an amplifier, and out of the amplifier we actually had speakers, and so our TV sounded good because it was coming out of speakers. Well, when we moved into this new house, what we did is we put the TV up, and it was in an alcove above like a fireplace, and there we couldn't mount the speakers anywhere. And so we went, and so her plan was to, but what they had done off to the side was run patching and tubing, so you could take all your cables and come down to the side and then out of the wall, and you could put a sound system there and everything. So we talked about putting in a sound system, and that would be putting the surround sound up in the speakers and around in the house, and mounting them and stuff like that. And somebody said, no, you now just do sound bars, and so we ended up buying a sound bar as well, and I can't remember who makes it, but it was about the same price and actually works really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, instead of $700 or whatever, $600 that my wife was planning on spending, we ended up spending about $150.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a Sony surround set with the subwoofer. No, I didn't have the subwoofer, but it had 5 speakers. And it worked well, but I got rid of it years ago, and I just don't need to deal with all those wires again. And
yeah, the one thing I didn't know is that you had to pull. There was a little plug in the digital or the digital audio, the wire line, and so I kept trying to just put the cable in there, and it wouldn't fit. And I was turning it, and I was like, maybe it was. And then I realized, I know what it was. The cap on the light, like.
Oh, you had to pull it out. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I should have, and I literally spent like 20 minutes trying to figure this out.
You're talking about the optical
the cable,
yeah.
And then I was like, oh wait, there's a cap on it, and I went, oh, like a fiber cable, which I've done.
There's one thing I know about you: you're not into hardware.
Oh gosh, I can't. I can barely find a key to put in. Like, how do I get the key in the ignition? And it doesn't matter; it goes either way. And I still, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to kink those optical cables either.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my Achilles tendon right there. Give me an optical cable, plug it in. Oh, this is gonna. We're gonna be here a while, folks.
It really is incredible how much audio there is in television, movies. You can watch it and you can listen to it on a couple decent speakers, and you get a sense of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is incredible. Every once in a while, when I actually listen to something that I'm familiar with out of a really, really decent set of speakers, 5.1 set up and everything, and I'm listening to it, and you hear it's all nuance. It's not without it, you're not. It's not like you're lost. You don't know what's. But I mean, all this. So much more. It's nuance. It really is absolutely incredible when you do hear something out of a really good set of speakers. And that reminds me that I watched the movie Whiplash. Anybody familiar with it?
Yes.
Great movie, right? Great movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Leave it maybe after the kids go to bed.
Yeah.
But I watched the movie Whiplash, and I watched it on a laptop with. It was a 17-inch laptop with a decent set of speakers, and it's got a little subwoofer in the bottom of it, and I really enjoyed the movie. Well, it wasn't until a couple weeks later that I plugged it. I have a set of USB speakers that they're amazing, and just on a lark, I took them upstairs, I plugged them in. I was watching something else. I thought, well, I want to check out the movie. I watched Whiplash again. I thought, well, I'll just listen to a couple minutes of it because I wanted to hear the difference. I ended up watching the entire movie again because I had no idea what I had missed the first time around, and especially something like that. It's the audio is critical of that movie. I was really stunned, and so but the USB speakers stay up there now. But you just can't beat a really good set of speakers.
Yeah.
Hey, here's something I worked on last week in my in my never-ending quest to not turn anybody away ever for any reason, no matter what they bring me, I fixed a metal detector.
A metal detector.
I had people
Wow.
bring me the most bizarre things, and usually it's it's and this is exactly the sort. It's like, I know you're not a metal detector repairman, but you fix stuff for. Could you take? I'm like, well, I'll take a look for it. It just wouldn't power on, and um, I think the issue here was that this thing was 10, 15 years old and was many hundreds of dollars um, new. And although it's one of the older ones that this guy has, it's one of the best. He just loves the thing, and he said he's found all of his best stuff with it. So, um, but it's all solid state, and it's got a digital readout, and the, the buttons. The buttons. It's not like the old, what you might imagine, old style. Physical switches now. I mean, the buttons are all. It's all solid state stuff, and so you all you had was an on-off button. You press the on button, and nothing would happen. So the screen would light up, nothing would happen. So
Well, and it's
yeah.
made from Oregon. That's why.
Is it made in Oregon?
Yeah, it says manufactured by White's Electronics, Sweet Home, Oregon. Sweet Home is about, I would say probably about an hour and 15 minutes from me. It's not not very far from our good friend Cody Cooper.
All right. Well, next time you go past there, tell them there's a very satisfied customer in
I will.
Pittsburgh that loves their device, and they need to maybe take a look at corrosion in their devices.
Yeah. Well, from the awesome paint job that one has, I would say that was probably purchased late 70s, early 80s.
Um,
It has that HBO, early HBO
it,
look
it
to it.
really does. It's you know what? It kind of reminds me of the old Zenith logo
Oh
with the
yes.
rainbow behind it. I think he said he's had about 15 years. I'm not sure, but um, anyway, I had this was quite an adventure for me. Just disassembling it, look on these bits, trying to figure out what. I mean, a lot of most of it's familiar. It's just electronics, but it's just kind of interesting how the whole thing went together and what goes into a metal detector um, and ultimately there was a bit of corrosion, and I cleaned everything up, got it back together, and it's working fine. And but the thing is, I turn it on, and it just goes through these menus, and you have to calibrate and do all this stuff. And I'm like, uh, I just knew that it worked. It would turn on now, which it didn't before. Now I think that's what he was looking for. So I said, well, while you're here, let's take. I want to see this thing work. I said, I want you to test it, make sure that everything's working. So he went and he kind of went around my yard with it, and it was really cool. He found a spot, and he said that it finally made a noise. It's a reliable noise. He said there's something here. So he did his little thing, and basically he marked out a spot, and I stuck a screwdriver. It was dark, so I stuck a screwdriver in the yard so I could find it the next day. And I went out there, and he said it's right about in here, and he said, hey, it's probably about 8 inches deep, and he said it's probably copper, maybe a penny. Okay. I got there the next day. I dug down. I mean, it dug down exactly where he marked it. It was about 7 to 9 inches. I couldn't tell you exactly, and I found it was a bit of construction debris. It was actually this is just so amazing. It was actually uh, some kind of bit of wiring, but it was two pieces of copper wires with a splice, uh, like a like a crimping connector,
Hmm.
crimped together, and it was about an inch long. But it was exactly below and at roughly the same depth as that thing marked out, and it probably had about as much copper in it as a penny. I was disappointed. I thought maybe I'd find something cool, but
New hobby, new hobby, new
oh
hobby.
my gosh, no! It's no, no, no,
Well, the
no.
White's Electronics, it made that they're still around. They said family owned since 1950, but they're still around doing stuff.
Well,
It is a big hobby for people.
it's yeah. It's like anything, it's a hobby. So you might find some really cool jewelry or money or whatever, but the thing about hobbies, they cost money. So I would never go into
Yeah.
it expecting to like actually be ahead, but the things he's found, and it really is an excellent. It's just a wonderful hobby. So I was glad that I was able to get that back up and running for him, and I got that such a great demonstration, and so
I mean,
that's another item list of crazy things people brought me, and I've sent them away happy.
I mean, for where I live in Hanover, I'm only 15, 17 miles from Gettysburg. But I think if you find stuff there, you can't keep it. I don't believe
Like
anywhere in
bones.
Getty. No, I'm not talking about bones, but I'm talking about you'll find. I don't know if you can keep
Right.
it or you got to turn it in because it's national property or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably all kinds. Yeah, there's probably all kinds of old stuff
Yeah.
there.
But what they don't know, they don't know.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
Hey, man,
But I don't even think you're allowed to be up here with a
No.
metal detector.
Well, just do it at night.
I would just run it down my pants leg, and
That's right.
You should be sweeping around with my foot.
Then when they ask you what that is, you can say it's a bone.
Actually, there is a show on TV, maybe a couple of different ones. They were using metal detectors, and one of them, they're trying to find some money that was stolen by the Union, then restolen again by the Confederates, or I don't know. They were all in different states, but it was kind of interesting.
Nice.
It's treasure hunting.
That's right.
Yeah.
What have
All
you
right.
been tearing up, Martin?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So for a while, all of a sudden, so there's an HVAC system inside of one of the schools that I maintain. And internally, we could access the HVAC system no problem. To go to the internal IP address, it's Java based. So, needless to say, this is a company that I probably brought up. Gosh, it had to be at least maybe a couple years ago. Their VPN wouldn't work. They called me out. I couldn't figure it out. We had a huge power outage when I was working on their VPN system at their business. I brought it home. I bought them new VPN devices, configured them, sent them out as kits, and everything's worked great. Well, all of a sudden, because these are Java-based systems, they update all the time. And they said, we can't access the Java-based system externally. So they go to the external IP address. It's all on port 80. I haven't changed anything with the firewall. They said it's broken. It's your fault. I said no, I don't think it's my fault. I think you guys need to maybe reboot your system or something. Something happened to your guys' system. No, it's your fault because. Pardon me?
No, I was kind of like just. I was agreeing with you audibly, and then.
Yeah, I don't like them saying it's your fault.
It's your fault. I mean, then they went too far. Oh, now it's my fault, huh? You're throwing the gloves off.
Well, I mean, I didn't rule it out, but but they said because we can access it internally, therefore it's responding, so we know the system's up. And I said that makes sense. They said so it's got to be something on the router, which I'm like, well, I don't know. So how do I test this? There is a great Windows program out there called Port Listener, PortListener. And it's a small, there's going to be a link in the show notes. It's a small executable that you can go and you can download, run it on any machine. Then what you can do is you can say listen to or listen on port whatever. Well, for this they were coming in on port 80. So set it up on a computer, put it port 80, said listen, go, went into my router, changed the IP address, right? Changed the IP address to that computer, not the static one for the HVAC system, and externally, I just go to the website and it just comes up. There's no website. I just go to the IP address and it comes. There's nothing comes up, but I can see something calling that device. Okay.
Yeah.
Externally, I do a telnet. Any Linux box Windows telnet the IP address, or telnet space the IP address space and the port number. So telnet external IP address space 80. Enter. Boom, I get a response. I see the port listener activate. I see the little log box pop open. So I see that port 80 is being transferred in, and it's actually going to where it's supposed to go, and it's responding back out. So I know my firewall settings are correct.
Yeah.
We go round and round, and they say, we need to get this figured out. We need to have. Could you come on site with us, and we'll take a look. Well, I said sure. And so one of the things that had happened in the past regarding a fob system was that in this school they have so many IP addresses that we have a 192.168 0.1 with a /23, which means we have 192.168. These are internal 192.168 0.1 through 1.254. So we span both subnets, right?
Right.
And so I thought, well, what? And the problem we were having with the fob system is that by default, when you type in, like most machines, even on Windows, 192.168.0.1, and you hit enter, it fills the subnet, right? Because you know that's a class C, so it fills the subnet automatically with 255.255.255.0, which means that if you have another subnet, it can't see it because you're limited to 0.1 through 0.254. Okay, so I thought, so with the fob system, they did that. It automatically filled. I needed to have them go back and make it 255.255.254.0. Now everybody could see it because the fob system wasn't working. Okay, so we fixed that. So I'm getting ready to go to the shop, and I think, oh, I bet the subnet is wrong. So we go down there, we take a look, subnet's right. As we're scrolling through the stuff, I see the gateway is not filled in, which means that data was coming in, hitting the Jace, and then the Jace was trying to respond, but there's no gateway, right?
Yeah.
It can't get back out to the internet, and it fails. You get page not found because you don't get any reply back. So that we fixed that problem, and they were back up and running and nothing flat, and it was actually them, and they said, well, this being Java, it updates all the time. So don't know if my, if that was caused it, but it's been resolved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
my
as long as
son.
they found something to blame their mistake on.
Right. But, I mean, I was, by the time we realized what the problem was, it was resolved in minutes because all we had to do was put the subnet in. But what I wanted to bring to the show was that port listener application to just say,
Hey, I'm trying to call you. Will you please answer the phone?
I know. Well, my son, I know. So my son's at school. And he just finished his some chemistry that he had to make up because he was at a band competition last Thursday, and I'm coming back to the school tonight, and he wants me to bring him Mexican food.
Mhm.
But I don't know where I'm going to find Mexican food. He's like, please, can we have Mexican food?
Taco Bell.
He may get Taco Bell. So, hey, I'm a tech, I'm a father, I'm a husband. This is what I do.
And a real good guy.
But I cannot do hardware. Cannot pull a cap off of a digital audio.
Well, that's all right.
So,
Oh,
It's
that's
not for you yet.
yeah. So that was kind of one of those, yay, we fixed it. All right. Had another client. I've got 2 VPN stories now. Had another client who this is the owner of a veterinary clinic, and
We don't charge for one.
I know. Owner of a veterinary clinic, and what he does is their software used to run. You would install it on the local machine and then VPN in, and then run the local software. But being that everything has to run on the computer, so it has to parse all the data from the server to the local machine, it was lagging so terrible, unusable actually. They couldn't use it. So this was about a year ago. We got a hold of the company. They said, "Oh, you're not supposed to do it that way. That's never how the program was ever supposed to be designed." But they were just doing it that way and never called the company. So the new way was you remote in. I give everybody an RDP session. Once they VPN in, once they connect to the VPN server, then they remote to their local terminal, their local computer, and they just work on the program that way. Solve the problem. Everything's working fine. Well, the doctor called me and says, I can no longer use the RDP session to connect. I said, is your VPN working? He says, yes. So I've double checked with him, did a remote session. Yes. Confirmed I can VPN, ping internal, get all the resources internally, map drives and everything, but I could not remote to his local computer.
Okay.
So I started looking around, and I tested it on my machine, no problem, could remote in, could VPN in, everything worked just fine, no problem. Using his credentials, everything. All right. So I start looking at his local computer, and I start looking at the firewall rules, and I turn off, RDP and turn it back on, and disable the firewall and renable the firewall, and just all the stuff you normally do. So then I start looking into, and I could also VPN in and then RDP to other computers. So RDP was passing through the firewall. Just want to clarify that. So it was specialized locally to his one machine. Realized that going through his list of stuff, because it's his computer. He's kind of a tech-ish, sorta.
Yeah.
But so he installed Spybot Search and Destroy, and I thought, let me just uninstall this. I uninstalled Spybot Search and
Yeah.
Destroy, and VPN, or at least RDP, started working again, no
Yeah.
problems.
Spy bots.
But he had 2 or 3 different versions of Spybot installed.
Right.
So if you Google Spybot,
Just enough to be dangerous.
right? If you Googled Spybot, you will. If, if you, yeah, it's
Hello.
well, it's 15. It's 4:45, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's almost 5 o'clock. We should call the tech guy." I should answer it. The tech guy. Anyways.
Just patch it through to me, and I'll take care of it.
All right, I will. I just hit reject, so I don't hope. I hope they're not listening to the show. I won't say who it is.
You have me in your phone as reject.
Yeah. Darn it. What was I saying? Oh, you Google Spybot Search and Destroy and VPN, and you end up with a lot of posts saying that Spybot will block the Cisco. VPN.
Yeah.
So.
I haven't used that in years. I might have used it at one time in recent years, but that was the main program back in the day. Years
Oh
ago.
yeah. Yeah. So, put on Malwarebytes, remove Spybot, and Bob's your uncle-in-law, and you're good to go.
That's actually, and you bring up, it reminds me of a good point, is that when I get a machine in and people complain about a problem, one of the most important questions I ask them is, when did this start? And try to get a sense of what were they doing immediately before that, or what were they doing immediately after that. And so, it kind of gives you a sense of the time. You try and get a timeline.
Right. Did you install anything? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so and so often if systems, and this is a situation where it wasn't like it was in fact the machine was really borked. It was just a feature stopped. And so when did that feature stop? You can even go in system restore, and if everything's working properly, there should be restore points that you can go through and say, aha, I see where you did this then, and that can kind of help nailing down what happened when. But just asking them, when did this start? Which most people are like, I don't know, between 3 days and 4 months. I'm not sure, but if you can kind of nail it down a little bit, that's a huge bit of the investigative work that you can avoid if you can just kind of get a sense of the window which this started. So yeah, hey, good find, man. That's not. I don't know if that's it's not a place to start Spybot. So arriving at that point as quickly as possible, it's pretty good.
My son doesn't want Taco Bell. Because I was going to pick him up a salad from Wendy's. We were drive right by Wendy's on the way to high school. I said, Taco Bell? He says, no Taco Bell. I said, what else? He said, a salad is fine then.
Well, let us know how that works out.
I will. Okay.
Hang on every word.
Pardon me?
Exactly.
Okay. Another VPN issue. All right. This one is going to require some thinking. So if you have a pen and paper, or pen, pencil, paper, whatever, get it down, because here we go. All right. So I have 3. There's going to be
McDonald's.
My son doesn't ever text in like a sentence. He thank, send, you, send, could, you, send, and so it's just like anyways. Kids these days. Okay, 3 locations. I have my home, or my office here, the client's office, and then the client's home. All right. My home external IP address, I'm not going to give you the whole thing, but it's like 50.39.x.x, okay? The client's home IP address, external, is 50.126.x.x, and the client's work external IP address is 50.126.x.x. Now, I have a static IP address, so I don't even know what the subnet is on mine, or dynamic, so the subnet on mine, my external IP address is going to be pretty big because it's out of a pool of IP addresses, right? When you get a static IP address from a company, and these all happen to be from Frontier, when you get a static IP address, they give you what's called a /30. So it's 255.255.255.252. That's it. And what that does is it allows you to have one broadcast, one network, and then you have one IP address in the middle, and that's yours. Because there is no pool because you get a IP address. My client's home is also dynamic, so he also had a pool of IP addresses. But when I looked at paper, the two IP addresses never crossed each other. His home, and his work. But what was happening when he goes home, he goes to VPN into his work, and it times out. I come to my house, I VPN into the work, and it works just fine. I try to ping I do a telnet, or not a telnet, but a trace route from my home computer to work, and I see it go through. Hits my router, all the way through to his static IP address at his work. Done. I do a trace route, and this took a while to get to this point. Did a trace route from his home to me, all the way through just fine. Okay? Trace route from his home to his work, and it hits his router and then stops. Do a trace route from his work to his home, and it hits the internal router, the internal router, the FiOS router, and then stops. So all of this, and I could VPN, I could do everything except his home and his work would not talk, and it was a Frontier issue internally to Frontier. It was, and this took a while to kind of come up to this conclusion of, well, I would reset his VPN, I would test it, and I was VPNing as him from my house and getting in just fine. But he could not do it from his house. He could VPN as him on his hotspot, and it would work just fine. But it was just something to do with his home, and I thought maybe it was wireless. Hooked up to wired, same thing, no problem. I mean, same issue, had a problem.
Okay, so with the hotspot, I mean, you've isolated to the ISP.
Yeah. So we schedule an appointment to go down to, and I had mentioned this on one of the Boxer chats with a whole bunch of people kind of brought this out because I said I am kind of lost in where to go with this, and it kind of explained it. And so we scheduled a time. I was going to go down to his office, and we were going to call Frontier. And so I get Frontier on the phone, and I got a terrible connection with the rep. And I just couldn't hear this person. So I said, could you I'm like, could you call me back? Well, she never called.
We're in the business of communications.
I kid you not. I was like, I couldn't, yeah. So I said, could you call me back? Well, she never called me back. But in the meantime, so this is kind of and I've spent probably 2 hours on this project, right? Over different times in testing and looking at different things. I hang up with the Frontier because I know they're going to call me back, right? Thumbs up. And the guy he comes over to me and he goes, something we've been thinking about was that when we moved into this building, we wanted to have Comcast, but Comcast wasn't available. Well, Comcast just pulled a new line, and now we can get Comcast available in this building. I think we're going to go to Comcast.
Oh, thank you.
And I said, well, that would resolve the issue. Do you want me to continue with Frontier and this? Because I had my laptop was out, I had notes out. I was going to be like, because I knew going into this, I was going to have to escalate this with Frontier. There was no way their first level tech was going to help me with this. I was going to have to fight them and say, it's on. Look, I have to prove to you without a reasonable doubt that it's something internal to your routing protocol on some FiOS switch somewhere in your Pacific Northwest. Like, this has to go to a inside tech. And he says, yeah, we're going to switch to Comcast. So do you want me to continue? And he goes, nah. So I'm like,
2 hours.
I'm like, okay, I will pack up all my stuff because he's like, well, I said, you realize in the meantime it's not going to be fixed until you switch over to Comcast. He goes, yeah, I don't do it very often. If I need to, I'll just go down to a Starbucks or just come into work because he only lives like 5 minutes away from this office, or I'll just use my phone or something like that. I'll just get it all squared away.
Beautiful.
But it was one of those calls where I had banged my head, figured it out, was like triumphant, get ready to storm into battle, and it's like, yeah, never mind. So, anyways, that was
our third VPN story.
That's my third one?
That was our third VPN story. No?
I think it was only two.
Is that the same? I thought. Okay.
No,
Anyway,
we had the doctor's office with the veterinary clinic that couldn't VPN because of Spybot, and then and a Verizon
okay.
Fios one.
Okay, all right.
So that same company that I'm talking about with the VPN, the reason he knew he was having VPN issues is because he bought a new laptop. And in the process of buying a new laptop, they called me. What should we do? What should we get? What they want, because they do AutoCAD and that they needed they needed a workstation laptop. Well, it was hard to find those with Windows 10 or Windows 7, so they ended up going with Windows 7 Home. Or sorry, scratch that. They're trying to find Windows 7 Pro, couldn't find it. They ended up going with Windows 10 Home, and this was the first time I had ever gone into Windows 7. Sorry, 10. Man, got into Windows 10 Home, and inside of there you can update it to Windows 10 Pro for $99, $99.99. So I said, well, I hope this works. If it doesn't work, then because they are on a domain, if it doesn't work, then we'll just figure it out. We'll still install QuickBooks, and we'll just have to redo some mapping in the background. So I bring it home, I do all the updates, which doesn't take too long because it's Windows 10, and then I go to update to the Pro, and it doesn't take. But before you update to Pro, you have to create a Microsoft account. Well, this company is hosted through Office 365, but it wouldn't take it. But so I tried, it wouldn't take. I said, fine, I'm going to do all the updates, because I thought, why would I do all the updates for Windows 10 Home if I'm just going to upgrade to Pro? So I update to Home, and it takes a bit, and then finally it gives me it's a different login screen now. So I realize they've done something different. They changed something. And it won't take his Office 365 account at all. So now I have to create him an Outlook account, or a Live account, or Hotmail account, whatever. So I had create him one of those just for the purpose of upgrading it. And then I go to upgrade it. Oh, what happened was when I went to upgrade it without the updates, it would say, Microsoft is busy, try back later. It just wouldn't go through. Try back later, try back later.
Microsoft is busy.
Right, we couldn't process your request, try back later. So I would try back later, and it wouldn't. So I did all the updates, and then now it was like, oh, we're not busy, but you don't have a valid account. So I had to create an Outlook account. Now I could log in. I go to update it, and it says, oh, and it starts. And I'm like, great, this is what I wanted to do. So it starts, it downloads everything, just like Windows 10, where it downloads a whole bunch of stuff and then updates it, right? Downloads everything, goes to update, it fails. Okay, try it again. Download everything, go to update, fail. Go back, make sure all the Windows updates are done, reboot the computer, downloads everything, updates, tries to update, fails. Well, I have to go to my daughter's concert that night. So
did you check the gateway?
The gateway was fine. Yes.
All right.
Okay. So I decide, well, I'm going to go to my daughter's concert. So I say update, and I walk away. I'm like, forget it. I'll deal with this later, and if I can't get it done tomorrow, I can't get it done. I come back home, go to update it, no option to update, because it updated by itself.
Okay.
One of the things that I kind of kick myself, because one of the things that I remember from many years in enterprise work was, if it's a Microsoft product and it doesn't work, get up and walk away and come back later, because you need time to calm down. I think the computer needs time to realize that it needs to work. I don't know what it is, but all I know is I remember the getting up and walking away for a bit and coming back. So this is my first client updated from Home to Windows 10 Pro. Put them on the domain, no problems at all.
Cool.
So same client, luckily, about a year ago, when they expanded their business, they had purchased QuickBooks 2013. In the process of that was fine. They had it in single user mode, but they had it installed. The data was stored on the server, but they had the QuickBooks installed on multiple computers. And they said, not a problem. What we'll do is one person can only log in at a time. So that's how they would do that. They never had multi-user mode. They were paying for one license, and they would just basically try to log in, and you can't. Who's in QuickBooks? I need to get in. Kick out. Go in. All right. So then they wanted to upgrade to multi-user mode, which is not a problem. You just upgrade. Well, at the time, QuickBooks 2015 was available, so they upgraded to 2015. Well, not a problem. I upgrade everybody to 2015. Everybody works fine. No problem. What I just found out, and I have to give props to Mike Smith of the Mike Tech Show for this, from one of the last podcasts he did, was he had a user that was using Windows 10 and QuickBooks 2013. QuickBooks 2013 will not work on Windows 10. You have to update to at least 2015 for it to work on Windows 10. So, luckily, my client a year ago, when they upgraded to QuickBooks, they upgraded to 2015. Therefore, this client with his new Windows machine just flowed and everything worked just fine with QuickBooks.
Cool. Well, that's good.
One more thing. Same client. The other business partner. So I've had three calls from the same company. The other business partner had a laptop, and he said, "This is my son's laptop. He plays Minecraft on it and a whole bunch of stuff, and it hasn't worked for like 8 months." So you log in.
And we need it right now.
Right. If you could take a look at this, that'd be great. So when you log in, you put me over the coals on this one, Tim. When you log in, you click on the user's profile, and Jay, you click on the profile, and it logs in. What does it do? It just like kicks you back out. Doesn't do anything. So I figured, it's locked. That's what it is. You go to log in, you click on it, and you need a password. Well, it's been 8 months, and the kid can't remember his password. Okay, so he created another, but before then,
which isn't a huge problem.
No, not a huge problem.
There's a larger issue.
Right. So I'm like, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll log in and we'll fix that. So he created another user called Scott. So I log in as Scott. Well, Scott's not a local administrator, so I can't do anything with the account called Scott. But that's what the kid's been using, so that one's kind of all messy too. But I can't do anything with it because it's not a local administrator.
Way to go, Scott.
Not a problem. I'm going to pull the disk out, or I'm going to throw in my I'm not going to pull the disk out yet. I'm going to put in my CD-ROM, and I'm going to load the NT offline Linux cracker.
Yep.
Right? I go to do that, and it gives me an error. It tells me that I can't load the system because the hibernation files and the page systems are in use. Okay. So what I'm thinking what happened was, in the process of the kid locking himself out, he put his computer into hibernate, and then when he brought it back up, he never got a chance to shut it down, and so now the hibernation files are locked. So I think, okay, I have to figure out how to get the hibernate files off. Well, I know that if I try to use Clonezilla, it will remove the hibernate file. So I pull the system out thinking I'll use that, but before I do that, I throw it out to the community, and I hear Tim say, "It breaks my heart that you're not using Conboot."
I was just going to say.
Or
any of them.
But nothing, I can't get it to work. So then I hear use a Linux distro. Okay, so I get it. That's a good idea. Jump in, go to a Linux distro, try to do it, and it errors out. Throws out some weird errors. Okay, Google it. Google says run these things. You have to run these commands that basically kill the hibernation file. I said, okay, Google apparently. Kills the hibernation files in Linux. Done. Excellent. Put the thing back in, try to run it. It now recreates the hibernation files.
Yeah.
So now I'm back to square one.
It's just like a virus.
Right. So now I can't unlock it again because I'm now back where I was 40 minutes ago trying to unlock this dumb thing.
That's great.
All right. So I go back in with my boot CD and I create Scott as an admin. And that's one thing I like about this NT offline. You probably could use it with a whole bunch of things, but you can go in and you can remove the password, which I've already done for this user, right? And then I removed the password for Scott, and I created an admin account on Scott. So I jump in there, and I'm like, okay, well, first off, as soon as I boot it up, I'm realizing that it's Windows 8, not 8.1. Well, I'm here. Let me upgrade it. Oh. No, so I got to figure out what happens. I finally get the hibernation files unstuck, and I can't remember exactly what I did. But all I know is now I can boot in as the kid, but when I click on it, it comes up and says profile corrupted, and it kicks me back out. I'm like, great. So I think, well, at least I can get into him now, and I can grab his data. If all else fails, I can at least maybe get some of the shortcuts. And the parents are like, if you can get the data, could. If you can't, no problem. We may just need to wipe and reload it. So I then go in as Scott, and I upgrade it to 8.1, right? And it takes a while. Boom, Bob's your uncle. Everything works just fine. Profile corruption fixed. So I hand it back to them, fully ready to go to local admins, 0 passwords on the computer, and upgraded to Windows 8.1. And then I cleaned up all of the malware and spyware that was infected this computer.
Wait, I'm sorry. Just back up for 1 second. What? I'm having. I don't know why I missed this.
I jumped around a little bit.
Huh?
Jumped around a little bit. There was a couple things that I may have.
I mean, you gave it permission to update to 8.1, or did it on its own?
No, I did after I created through the NT Offline boot CD, created another user as an admin.
Okay, all right, gotcha. Dialed in. Excellent. That is a very interesting solution. I mean, that's not you couldn't actually recommend that, I mean, it's not a recommended solution because if obviously not all machines need to be updated, but I've heard many people say, I was about to call you. There's been a dip in how busy I've been. And I think it's because of this. There have been a lot of people who have told me, I was just about to call you. This thing was crazy, and I couldn't live with it anymore. And then it updated, it fixed it. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. I'm like, what's cool? I mean, I like solving problems, but
well, remember, Windows is not supporting. Remember, Windows is not supporting 8 anymore. That was the view.
Right.
So, whenever I see 8, I jump to 8.1.
Right, but this is in my mind, it's still new. It's not like, because the upgrades from 8 to 8.1 and the free upgrade from 8 or 8.1 or 7 or whatever to 10, in both of those scenarios that people said, hey, it cleaned it out and fixed it, which actually makes a lot of sense. You would think that it would, but just in my mind, I'm still thinking of, you install service packs and it wouldn't fix anything.
I guess so. That it tells me then the Windows 8.1 is not just a service pack. It actually redoes some core files if it fixes corrupted profiles.
Mm.
Or it just does it in a way.
Or it does some magical leprechaun stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I still use OPH, and I can't remember if I used it with a Windows 8 or machine before. I mean, that still works because, like, when I used Comboot before, I could get in there, but I couldn't get into the admin account, so I couldn't change anything. But OPH should give you, if it works, it should give you the admin account.
And I know Tim really, and I have not purchased Conboot, but I know you're a big fan of Conboot.
Yeah, it's just served me so well. It's just one of those tools that, there's several ways around, the whole password issue. You mentioned Offcrack, and I love that, Mitch, but to me it was all.
Sometimes it didn't work.
Well, the thing is that it's actually cracking the password. It's actually, it's comparing the hash to all the rainbow tables. And,
right.
So
it's not real fast sometimes.
No, I mean it's actually doing a lot of stinking work, and I always found it to be. I always prefer doing that than actually using the NT offline password.
Yeah, same here. I'd rather,
only because I don't want to change the passwords in there.
Right.
Because actually, the story I told a couple weeks ago about the lady that she was punching the wrong password. I mean, she was blindly punching a different character than she thought, and so the password in her mind isn't actually the password in there. And so, if I were to have dumped it, and if we were, I could have changed it to anything, thinking, well, she could just change it back. I actually started looking for this earlier, and I forgot to find it. I got about halfway through the search, but there are files and whatnot that are tied to that user. There's files or processes. I'm trying to think exactly. I can't explain it well enough to even bother right now. But I mean, there are things tied to that password login, and if that password were to change, or it turns out this woman didn't actually know it. She was punching something different. So, if I don't have to change it, I prefer not to. And that's why I always like the Offcrack, is I liked cracking it Well, I kind of like just the whole like white hat hacker aspect to it. I thought the whole process was interesting, but I just wanted to know the password. I didn't want to alter it, and so I like that. But the thing is it worked it worked a lot better in the past where the rainbow tables were adequate. People used to use really crappy passwords. They were less than eight characters. They
Yeah.
were dictionary words. And so the rainbow tables were really effective. Since then, Windows started requiring, I think they actually require, a little bit longer password, I believe. People become a little bit more.
Yeah, I think
Um,
OPH was limited to like, I don't know, 14 characters or something. I don't know.
and I don't remember.
Yeah.
That may have been the case, but people become a little bit more sophisticated. They're using a little better passwords.
Now, Conboot will. That's not going to help you get into an admin account, is it? I mean, in my
Yeah,
case, it
yeah.
didn't.
It'll get you in anything, except for if this thing's on a domain and it's
Yeah,
not
the,
a
the
local
machine I was
account.
on was on the domain.
Right.
I tried to take it, I couldn't, but luckily I did get the.
Yeah, that's the only situation because it has to be a local account.
Yeah, it wouldn't let
But
me take it
whatever
off the domain.
but whatever it is, the most recent version that's been released, he's updated it, and it's fantastic. It's really really great. So it's just it boots. Uh, it, I I always used to boot it from a live disk, and this newest version in Windows 10, I had problems using a disk. I actually used the made a USB flash drive with it, and when I booted from that, oh, Bob's your uncle-in-law. I mean, I was just like right in. So
Mm.
anyway, I don't think that would have done any good though, Martin. I mean, in that case, because you had you had problems. It was like it was an issue with the hibernation files.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know.
Well, so you guys would much rather crack the password, brute force crack it, than it is just remove it?
I'd rather not change it.
Right.
Given the choice between removing it and not removing it, I would prefer to not remove it. I would prefer to know it
I mean,
and lose it.
I guess you could put the same one back in after you did what you ever had to do.
I don't know. I guess from a time point of view, I just get in there and just say, if you've lost your password, I could change it through the NT offline cracker, or I could just remove it, and no, just remove it.
Well, yeah, and that's different. So if I've already had permission to do that, um, then
But most of my
I wouldn't have any issue doing that. But at the same time, what you're talking about actually takes even longer than booting up Comboot.
Well, I mean, the NT offline one doesn't take that long. I have it
Well,
on Pixieboot server, and then I just go in and you just choose the password and you say clear it, and you're done.
which is several more steps than Comboot. Comboot,
Sure, but
you know,
Conboot doesn't crack, right? It just you can clear it as
It
well.
just bypasses it.
it
Oh,
just
it just
bypasses.
bypasses it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it basically what happens is as it's booting, after you get a the BIOS screen, if you even still do, but once it's gone through all the BIOS business, before it starts Windows, it boots from that drive. Well, like it would booting um, any live disk. You've chosen it to boot as opposed to Windows, but it boots it. It goes through, a little display, which um, thankfully the newest version on the USB flash drive, it actually doesn't have the hokey um, uh, text art, ASCII art that it
Yeah,
did
yeah, yeah.
before.
Con. Yep, yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
which always was kind of ridiculous. But anyway, but it boots up. It's like it's kind of giving you like some indications doing this, doing that, blah blah. And I mean, it's like less than 15 seconds, and then it's off to Windows. It boots Windows. Windows boots normally, and once you get to the login screen, you choose the account that you want to log into, and you just press enter. And I believe that it actually gives you a warning that I think it's Windows 10 or something different that you can't press. It doesn't let you press enter. It won't accept no characters. It's Windows 10. It actually has to see characters. so you can't just press enter. But the warning says just punch anything in. So entering at least one character, any character, and pressing enter is adequate, and it gets you in. So, but yeah, it just bypasses the whole that security issue.
Hmm.
But yeah,
All right.
it's just so fast and effective, and anyway,
I will have to purchase it.
yes. Again, with the disclaimer, not because our lawyers tell us, but because we're all good guys here, and if you're a bad guy, get out. But these aren't these aren't tools that we're recommending so that you can go off and be a jerk uh, and what have you. I mean, these are lock picking tools to the locksmith. This is to help us do our job. This is the reason they exist. If you think I'm recommending tools that you can go and be malicious, you got the wrong idea. And give us a call, send me an email. I'd love to have a talk with you.
There you go.
All right.
I have one more thing I'd like to bring.
Yes, sir.
A application called Networks, Networx. And what this application does, and I'm just pulling up the page really quick. Let me throw it in the chat. What this application will do is it will allow you on your local machine, as well as attach it to like your router. I believe I need to look at it some more. You can monitor your network traffic. So if you want to see how much network traffic you're having up and down on your local machine, you can install this and figure out how much network traffic you can use and stuff like that. But what's kind of cool about this is that you can attach it to you can run it on a local machine, as far as I know, and then you can under the advances you should be able to attach it to your router. So because seeing it on your local machine, big deal. What about your total bandwidth and total network traffic up and down on the network? Well, a lot of places have monitoring that you can throw on, higher end routers, but lower end routers you may not have that. So this may be a product that you could throw in there.
Interesting. Very good.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Is this something you've used?
I have not, because it's
okay.
It's Windows, and you know how I feel about Windows.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't want that. It just fixes itself. Ugh.
Well, no, I think
I don't have that in my life. I need something I can constantly tinker with.
That's right. I'm actually going to throw it up on my monitoring workstation up here. That's right.
Okay.
Excuse me while I look down my nose at you.
Well, that's all right. You can't look through it.
No.
Hey, speaking of that, speaking of your command center in front of you, how is can you give us like a 30-second update on your GFI monitoring software? Is that still going well?
Yeah. I'm really impressed with that. I need to spend some more time with it, but they're making some changes. I've had calls from the GFI people, but I just haven't had time to call them back. Kind of go over some new stuff, because I know GFI was bought out, and they're making some changes. I know that Liam, our good friend Liam Tidwell, is checking out some other products as well that do kind of the same thing as GFI, antivirus, content management, and all that kind of stuff. So I will need to talk with him about that, because him and I wanted to get here and or get together and talk about what he has, how he uses it, what the new product is that he's looking at. It's kind of big for me to change. I have to change almost 250 computers, but depending on price and time and worth it. But like I said, I haven't had a lot of time to call the company back just to follow up with them, but that is going to change. One of the things that I had been talking about for quite a while, one of the reasons why Geeksters has not been as on a set schedule lately is because, frankly, I've been busy, and I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. Well, after spending some time talking with my wife and other people, including my bookkeeper, my tax guy, as well as my insurance company, we have come kind of after getting all the information and coming through, come to the conclusion that I'm not going to be asking a gentleman that I was going to originally ask to be a contractor with me. Um, I'm actually going to offer him an employee as a position as an employee. So he will be my first employee of Obando Computing, starting hopefully. I need to send out a proposal letter to him, but hopefully starting January 1st.
Oh, I thought you had him start sooner so that you could fire him right before Christmas.
Oh,
That's cold, man.
heartless.
Note to self: never go work for. Oh, the holidays are coming. Everybody just. Ooh.
No,
Oh,
you get a girlfriend after New Year so you can dump her right before Valentine's Day.
Oh my.
wow.
Oh my gosh. What about Thanksgiving? Well, Thanksgiving, we have that in America because we don't live in a bogus country.
I'm thankful for my job. Yeah, about that.
Oh my gosh. I
So
have
no,
everybody. I think I have the most disturbing view of the holidays.
I
No,
know.
I was kidding around.
No, of course you are.
That's great, man. I'm really excited for you. I'm excited for him. I mean, you're such a good dude, and you're so busy. That would have to be such a good gig working for you. And I wish you all the best. And I don't expect I need to wish you any luck. I mean, I'm sure it's all going to go really well for you.
Well, he seems like a really good guy. It's nice that we kind of came together and found, his mother-in-law works for one of the companies that I support, and kind of just all fell together. And hopefully that'll mean that I'm going to be around Podnuts more, be able to do this more on a regular basis. And yeah, I'm was totally nervous about hiring somebody. Just the thought of hiring somebody just kind of freaked me out. But then once
Yeah.
when we looked at the numbers and I talked to my tax guy, and he's like, your growth right now, you're going to stall out. This is where I see single people stall out, is right where you're at. And to continue on growing, you're going to need to hire. And so talking with him and his reinsurance, my bookkeeper's reinsurance, so we could make the bills and payments, and I just kind of was like, all right, let's do this. And that way, so I'm not stressing out as much about the short term, financial little bit of a dip and how am I going to do all this stuff and how's this all going to work. And I'm more excited for the long run, thinking I could take a day and not stress out about it. I could go on vacation in March when my family goes to Disneyland, those kind of things. So I'm more excited about what the future holds, and that's bigger than my nervousness right now of looking at all how much money I'm going to have to spend to bring on somebody.
Well, your accountant's right. This is just it's a numbers, and he said, well, this is the point where the growth and you've plateaued, and the amount of time that you have, and the effectiveness of what you can work, and what the opportunity costs, so it's to him it's just math, and that's really all it is. But then there's this huge emotional component of hiring a person, and what does that bring, and it changed the dynamic of you, and you relate to your business and the people and and the whole thing. And then there's the things that change. You realize that oh my gosh, I don't have to be. It's not like every single time the phone rings, I have to be the person that answers it. You actually can't. You actually have permission in life to be sick for a day. Or go be like a normal person, family, and there's really a lot to it, and I agree with your accountant, but I what I look forward to this for you is everything outside of the numbers. Is that you just can't do it anymore. It's too much.
Yeah.
And it's a shame to think that with as good as you are at this, because your Venn diagram overlaps at the tech part and the people part, which that is not common. Most people are really good at one or the other, and if you're great with people, awesome. If you're great with tech, that's great. But to be in your position, running a business, working for people, you gotta have both of that. And you got spades. but you're only one man. You can only do so much, and so there's a lot of people out there that could really benefit from your service, but you can't get to them yet. So I really do wish you all the best. And then and then when the mics go down, I'll go sit in my room and just sit in a jealous rage.
And then you
Can I
might
say that out loud?
you might have more free time to do a steady weekly show on here.
That's my goal. I would hope to have more free time to do a steady weekly show.
So I get to spend more time with some jealous rage. Great.
There you go.
Thanks. Talk that door.
Right. So that's what I have to bring to the show tonight.
Good show. Good show.
Oh man, good stuff.
I better go get my son some Mexican food. If I leave early, I can probably go get him some decent Mexican food. I'm not sure where though. Actually, I do know where. There's a Mexican place right up the way. That's pretty good.
How can people get hold of us, Martin?
I don't know.
Oh, they can send us emails at geeksters@podnuts.com or send us voicemails.
Wait, that's a trap. It's a trap.
Voicemails. We haven't had a voicemail in a while. Send us those at 7076-PODNUT. That's 707-676-3688. We have operators standing by right now.
Right now.
Now.
Right now. All right, Tim. If people want to get a hold of you, give you some relationship advice or how to hire an employee or
yeah, absolutely. It's
relationship
advice. my feelings, my opinion of any random holiday. Please let me know.
That's right. To maybe expand more on Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Actually, I'd be happy to expand on any topic. Matter of fact, topics I've never even mentioned. If you want my opinion, just contact me at Tim Bauermeister on G+.
Anything they should not touch? Any boundaries? Any limits? Huh? No.
That's
there's a reminder real quick in case people...
A reminder. What did that remind you of, Mitch?
No. Here's a reminder to everybody. They probably don't know it, but Star Wars is coming out Friday.
And I'm supposed to go with a group of people. We can't even go to January 9th, so everybody shut up.
I'm off all next week. I'm going to see it with my wife.
I may just
sneak out. I hadn't heard. I didn't know anything about that.
I think the original cast is in it, and I'm not sure.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be Tim's last show. He's no longer able to be on Geeksters due to his Star Wars. Apparently, everybody called Tim about Star Wars. Get Tim on Google Plus and let him know about Star Wars.
Oh no! I got plenty of opinions about Star Wars.
Right. People want to get a hold.
I love that Star Trek.
That's
I love Star Trek.
And the box thing where the guy gets in it and he goes through time. That's pretty cool. I love how they do that in Star Trek.
Right. Well.
That's highly illogical, but anyway.
That's right.
Damn it, Jim! I'm a computer. I'm a pod nutsian, not a. I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor. I'm not a scientist.
I kind of screwed it up, but I love that Star Wars track.
All right. If you want to get a hold of me, Martin at obandocomputing.com, Obando in the Google Plus, and I'm Obando Computing whenever I get a chance to jump into the IRC. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. Thanks, chat room, for being there, talking chatty stuff. It's always good to see people in there. We got CT Tech Guy, Kevin, SCJ643. I think I even saw some guy named Lugbot in there for a while.
Yeah.
Lugbot, guy, the cool guy. It's like talking to myself. But all right, guys, have a great fiscal week. Don't forget to be grundled. Bye, guys.